everybody, welcome to my channel.
Stephen Hawking, January 8, 1942 to March 14, 2018, was an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, and author, celebrated as one of the most brilliant scientific minds of the modern era. His groundbreaking work on black holes, quantum mechanics, and cosmology profoundly reshaped humanity's understanding of the universe. Despite being diagnosed with a debilitating motor neuron disease, ALS, at the age of 21, Hawking defied all expectations, living and working for more than 5 decades after his diagnosis. Born in Oxford, England, Hawking grew up in a family deeply engaged in academic and intellectual pursuits. He attended University College, Oxford, where he studied physics, and later pursued a Ph.D. in cosmology at Cambridge under the supervision of Dennis Sciama. It was during this period that his symptoms of ALS first appeared, a condition that would eventually leave him almost completely paralyzed. Yet, his illness never diminished his intellectual vigor or his sense of humor. Hawking's most influential scientific contribution was his discovery that black holes emit radiation, now known as Hawking radiation, a concept that united quantum theory, general relativity, and thermodynamics. This revelation challenged long-standing assumptions about the nature of black holes and the preservation of information in the universe. His work laid vital groundwork for ongoing attempts to develop a unified theory of quantum gravity. In 1988, Hawking gained global fame with his book, A Brief History of Time, which presented complex cosmological ideas, such as the Big Bang, black holes, and time travel, in accessible language for the general public. The book became a bestseller and established Hawking as a cultural icon, bridging the gap between science and popular culture. He later published other works, including The Universe in a Nutshell, The Grand Design, and Brief Answers to the Big Questions. Confined to a wheelchair and communicating through a speech-generating device, Hawking became a symbol of resilience and human potential. His public appearances, lectures, and humor, even making cameo appearances on The Simpsons, Star Trek, The Next Generation, and The Big Bang Theory, made him beloved by millions around the world. Stephen Hawking's life was not only a triumph of intellect over adversity but also a story of curiosity, courage, and perseverance. He was honored with numerous awards, including the Copley Medal, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and membership in the Royal Society. He passed away on March 14, 2018, coincidentally on Pi Day and the birthday of Albert Einstein, leaving behind a monumental legacy in science and human spirit. His insights into the cosmos continue to inspire scientists, philosophers, and dreamers to look up at the stars and try to make sense of what we see. Stephen Hawking's life story is one of remarkable intellect, perseverance, and human courage, a testament to the limitless potential of the mind even when the body is constrained. Born in Oxford, England, during World War II, Hawking was the eldest of 4 children. His father, Frank, was a medical researcher, and his mother, Isabel, was a secretary who worked in medical research before becoming a full-time mother. The family valued education deeply, often engaging in intellectual discussions at the dinner table. And young Stephen showed early curiosity about how things worked. He built model airplanes and intricate mechanical devices, demonstrating an inventive and analytical mind from a young age. At Oxford, Hawking initially found the coursework too easy and admitted that he spent more time socializing and rowing than studying. However, he graduated with first-class honors and went on to Cambridge for his doctoral studies. It was there, at age 21, that he began experiencing symptoms of ALS, muscle weakness and difficulty with coordination. Doctors gave him only a few years to live. The diagnosis was devastating. But instead of surrendering to despair, Hawking threw himself into his research. He later described this turning point as the moment that gave his life new purpose. In the late 1960s and 1970s, Hawking's work transformed theoretical physics. He applied the laws of thermodynamics to black holes, discovering that they are not entirely black but instead emit faint radiation, the phenomenon now known as Hawking radiation. This revelation suggested that black holes could eventually evaporate and disappear, leading to profound questions about whether information that falls into a black hole is lost forever, a puzzle known as the black hole information paradox, which continues to challenge physicists today. Hawking also developed theories about the origin of the universe, proposing that space and time began with the Big Bang and might one day end in black holes. Alongside physicist James Hartle, he proposed the Hartle-Hawking state, a model suggesting that time itself has no clear beginning, that the universe could be finite but without boundaries, much like the surface of a sphere. This concept offered a bold alternative to traditional views of creation and redefined how cosmologists think about the universe's origin. Despite his deteriorating health, Hawking's intellectual output only grew. As his ability to speak faded, he communicated through a computer voice synthesizer, a robotic voice that would become iconic. His witty humor, charisma, and optimism remained undimmed. He once said, "Life would be tragic if it weren't funny," reflecting his ability to find joy and humor even in hardship. Hawking married Jane Wilde in 1965, and the couple had 3 children, Robert, Lucy, and Timothy. Their marriage faced immense challenges due to the pressures of his illness and fame. But Jane was a steadfast supporter during the most critical years of his career. Their relationship was later depicted in the 2014 film, The Theory of Everything, which earned Eddie Redmayne an Academy Award for portraying Hawking. Throughout his life, Hawking received numerous honors, including the Albert Einstein Medal, the Wolf Prize, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. Although he never received a Nobel Prize, largely because his theoretical predictions could not yet be experimentally verified, his influence on modern physics is immeasurable. Beyond science, Hawking was deeply philosophical. He often pondered the meaning of existence, the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and the future of humanity. He warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence, climate change, and nuclear war, urging global cooperation and exploration. He believed that humanity's survival depended on colonizing other planets, famously stating, "I don't think we will survive another 1,000 years without escaping beyond our fragile planet." Stephen Hawking's passing in 2018 marked the end of an extraordinary life but the continuation of an extraordinary legacy. His ashes were interred at Westminster Abbey, near the graves of Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin, fitting company for a man who changed how the world understands the cosmos. His message endures, that even when life seems impossible, the pursuit of knowledge and the wonder of the universe remain powerful reasons to keep going. Stephen Hawking's influence extended far beyond the boundaries of physics. He became a global symbol of scientific curiosity, perseverance, and the human spirit's defiance of limitation. His ability to make the most abstract aspects of the universe accessible to millions inspired not only scientists but also artists, filmmakers, and everyday people searching for meaning in existence. Philosophical outlook and views on the universe. Hawking's approach to cosmology was deeply philosophical. He grappled with profound questions. Why does the universe exist? What laws govern it? Is there a role for a creator? He often said that understanding the universe was akin to knowing the mind of God, a metaphor he used in A Brief History of Time. However, Hawking was not religious in a traditional sense. In his later years, he described himself as an atheist, asserting that the universe can and will create itself from nothing. He believed that science, not divine intervention, could explain the origins and structure of the cosmos. He also viewed the search for knowledge as humanity's greatest endeavor, a way of transcending mortality and connecting with something larger than ourselves. He frequently emphasized the importance of curiosity, saying, "Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist." Hawking's optimism was grounded in reason. Even as he faced immense physical challenges, he believed that understanding the universe gave life meaning. His philosophy reflected a balance between determinism and hope, that while the universe might follow physical laws, human creativity and intellect could still shape the future. Public role and cultural impact. Hawking's fame made him one of the most recognizable scientists in the world, often compared to Albert Einstein in cultural significance. Through his books, lectures, and media appearances, he transformed the public perception of theoretical physics from a mysterious discipline into a field of wonder and imagination. His 1988 book, A Brief History of Time, became an unexpected global phenomenon, selling over 25 million copies. Despite its scientific complexity, it captivated readers by exploring profound questions about time, space, and the nature of reality. The book stayed on the Sunday Times bestseller list for an unprecedented 237 weeks and was later adapted into the 1991 documentary A Brief History of Time. Directed by Errol Morris, Hawking's computer-generated voice became an emblem of his identity, an instantly recognizable sound associated with intelligence and perseverance. Even though he could have upgraded to more natural-sounding software, he chose to keep the synthetic voice that had become his trademark. It became a powerful reminder that communication, not physical speech, defines human connection. Pop culture embraced him wholeheartedly. Hawking appeared as himself in Star Trek, The Next Generation, The Simpsons, and The Big Bang Theory, often poking fun at his own legend. His appearances helped make science approachable, blending humor with intellect. Legacy and influence on future generations. Stephen Hawking's legacy continues to shape modern science and culture. His work on black holes inspired generations of physicists to pursue the elusive theory of quantum gravity, the unification of quantum mechanics and general relativity. His insights into the Big Bang and the nature of time remain foundational to cosmology. He also changed how society views disability. Hawking became a beacon for people with physical challenges, proving that the mind's power can transcend the body's limits. His perseverance and achievements challenged stereotypes about what people with disabilities can accomplish. Institutions, documentaries, and educational programs continue to celebrate his contributions. The Stephen Hawking Medal for Science Communication, established in 2016, honors individuals who promote science through art, film, or writing, a fitting tribute to a man who made the universe understandable to millions. In the years before his death, Hawking continued to share his insights with the world. His final book, Brief Answers to the Big Questions, 2018, published posthumously, distilled his lifelong curiosity into accessible reflections on artificial intelligence, time travel, and the future of humanity. He urged people to embrace exploration and warned of existential risks like AI, pandemics, and ecological collapse, advocating for cooperation and reason as tools for survival. Stephen Hawking's life remains one of the most extraordinary stories of the 20th and 21st centuries. He redefined what it means to live fully, to think freely, and to dream beyond the stars. As he once wrote, it would not be much of a universe if it wasn't home to the people you love. Later years and continued work. In the later years of his life, Stephen Hawking remained a vibrant force in both science and culture, continuing to push intellectual boundaries despite the near-total paralysis caused by ALS. By the 2000s, he could move only a few facial muscles, yet he continued to lecture, write, and contribute to research through adaptive technology. Using a cheek muscle to control his communication device, Hawking composed lectures, books, and public statements that inspired millions. His team at Intel and the University of Cambridge developed custom software that allowed him to speak and even write entire manuscripts with remarkable speed and precision. Hawking's later research focused on the black hole information paradox, one of the greatest unresolved questions in physics. He proposed that information swallowed by a black hole might not be lost forever but could be encoded on its event horizon, potentially escaping through subtle quantum effects. This idea connected deeply with the holographic principle, which suggests that the universe's information may be stored on a two-dimensional surface. These theories placed Hawking at the center of modern debates about quantum gravity and the nature of information, discussions that continue to this day. He also explored the multiverse theory, suggesting that our universe might be just one of countless others born from quantum fluctuations after the Big Bang. In his final paper, published in 2018 with physicist Thomas Hertog, Hawking attempted to define a testable model of the multiverse, one without infinite variations, offering a more scientifically grounded approach to the idea of parallel universes. Global recognition and public influence. Hawking's influence reached far beyond academia. He was celebrated worldwide for his ability to blend profound scientific insight with an extraordinary human story. Honors and awards poured in from scientific institutions, governments, and universities across the globe. He was appointed Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at Cambridge University in 1979, a position once held by Sir Isaac Newton, and held it until 2009. His public lectures often drew standing room-only audiences, with people captivated not only by his ideas but by his wit. He joked about time travel, alien civilizations, and even his synthetic voice, often saying, "Before I lost my voice, I had a boring one." His self-deprecating humor and humility made him deeply relatable, even as his intellect soared to cosmic heights. In 2007, Hawking fulfilled a lifelong dream when he experienced zero gravity aboard a modified Boeing 727 aircraft, temporarily escaping the confines of his wheelchair. He described the experience as exhilarating and symbolic of human potential. People need not be limited by physical handicaps as long as they are not disabled in spirit. Personal life and relationships. Hawking's personal life was complex and deeply human. His marriage to Jane Wilde, which lasted from 1965 to 1995, was filled with both love and struggle. Jane provided emotional and physical support throughout the most challenging years of his illness, helping him maintain his independence and career. However, as Hawking's fame grew and his condition worsened, the strain on their relationship deepened. After their divorce, Hawking married Elaine Mason, one of his nurses, in 1995. That relationship ended in 2006, amid controversy and media scrutiny. But Hawking continued to maintain close ties with his children and friends. He was particularly proud of his daughter Lucy Hawking, a journalist and novelist, with whom he co-authored a series of popular science adventure books for children, beginning with George's Secret Key to the Universe, 2007. These works introduced young readers to scientific ideas through storytelling, reflecting Hawking's lifelong passion for making science accessible to everyone. Final years and legacy. In his final decade, Hawking remained a global ambassador for science, advocating for environmental awareness, technological responsibility, and human exploration of space. He expressed concern about artificial intelligence, warning that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Yet, he also saw AI's potential if managed wisely, viewing it as a tool for discovery rather than destruction. His final book, Brief Answers to the Big Questions, 2018, encapsulated his thoughts on humanity's future. In it, he addressed existential issues such as, is there a God? He concluded no divine creator was necessary. How did the universe begin? Through laws of physics, not miracles. Will we survive on Earth? Not forever. He urged space colonization. Will artificial intelligence outsmart us? Yes, unless we guide its evolution responsibly. Hawking died peacefully at his home in Cambridge on March 14, 2018, at the age of 76, exactly 139 years after the birth of Albert Einstein. His ashes were interred at Westminster Abbey between the graves of Newton and Darwin, a symbolic acknowledgement of his place among the greatest minds in history. During the ceremony, his voice, encoded in a musical composition by Greek composer Vangelis, was beamed into space toward a black hole, a poetic farewell to a man who devoted his life to understanding the cosmos. Stephen Hawking's enduring message remains one of curiosity, resilience, and unity. He showed that the pursuit of knowledge is not limited by physical strength but fueled by imagination and will. His life continues to inspire scientists, dreamers, and anyone who dares to look up at the stars and wonder. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. We are very, very small. But we are profoundly capable of very, very big things. Influence on disability rights and accessibility. Stephen Hawking's life became a beacon for people living with disabilities around the world. Though he rarely framed himself as an activist, his very existence, a world-renowned
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.